How are you doing? And welcome to episode 4 of this special series of Rugby League Coach podcast. My name is Lee Addison. A while back, before I went to England, before I got sick, I asked you a load of questions. I said I was going to do a special series of podcasts. If you haven't listened or watched the first 3, they're on YouTube. You probably gathered that if you're watching, or if you're listening on Apple, Spreaker, Spotify, and all them, you probably gathered that they're on there. So this is number 4. Okay. The topic today is about agents and agents representing kids. What I'm going to do with this, because many of you commented, is I'm going to go to your comments first and then give sort of my opinions. Sometimes I'll give the opinion while I'm reading the comments, but let's have a look. Matthew Prento Ackworth. Is it the most common way for NRL clubs to reach school age kids? Do they hinder the process? Well, I think the best way should be to go through a teacher, shouldn't it? You'd be amazed how many teachers are tied in now with playing managers as well. So that's another thing. And I've been accused of that too. And I guess I have genuinely been tied in with player managers, but in a very open and transparent way, unlike some. Paul Robson, I can see a place for them. Signing contracts, etc., can be daunting, and having someone to support a young player and their family through it is okay. I think the issue is when the agents act in much the same way as real estate agents. For those listening, I was nodding there. Pushing and more pushing of prices, wages, etc., to increase their own commission. No thought about it, the future of the game, just what they can get out of it today. Perhaps a flat fee for agents might deter the inflating demands. And then Jamie Henselwood disagreed with that. Parents usually believe everything the agent tells them without doing due diligence and sign 3-5-year agent deals. That's another point we can talk about. Those two had a great conversation online there. You can't sign until you're 17 years old. That was Kano O'Shea. Turned 17 as a 15 or 16-year-old. See, what happens, right, is a lot of agents will sign a kid from the womb and leave the date off the contract, put it in the drawer, and open it up when they're of age, or whatever the determination is from the league at that time. So let's talk about agents. And it's important to give some historical context, I think, too. So it's my understanding, and I think people will find it very hard to argue with this, that the Super League war created money in the game that had never been seen before, and it created opportunity that the game had never seen before. So therefore, the agent came into prominence. And there's stories of kids that were 16 playing Harold Matthews in Sydney getting $30,000-$40,000 contracts. And because the ARL and the Super League were fighting to get every player they could under their stable, so the agents jumped in, and a few of them made a real good quid on the back of that. So what we have today is about, and I've literally just checked on the RLPA website and the NRL website, that there's about 130 accredited player managers. There's been as many as 200, I think, in the past. The NRL, I think, does a pretty good job in trying to be as open and transparent about what these agents do. All their names, addresses, telephone numbers are online. You can find them. So in that sense, there's no place to hide. Secondly, they have banned certain agents for doing what they determine to be the wrong thing. But we are silly if we don't think corruption and dog eat dog and shady business practices haven't crept into the agent realm. So of all the agents I know, one of them happens to be a really, really good friend of mine. He's one of the biggest out there. I don't doubt his integrity at all, but there's plenty of people out there who would, because what happens is agents are a bit like real estate agents or used car salesmen. People tend to distrust them before they start. And also, it is an absolute dog eat dog territory. And I think one of the reasons is that if you think about rugby league, it's a salary cap sport. So if you add the salary caps of every single NRL club, 17 times whatever the salary cap is right now. That's all the money that is available, basically, excluding any third party deals and whatnot. I don't always understand all the intricacies of that, but it's actually limited as to how much you earn. And then if you were to divide that equally amongst the 130 agents, it wouldn't be that much of an earner, would it? But really, the reality is that several agents have several of the big name players. Those big name players earn a massive part of their salary cap, and the rest are all jumping around for scraps. And I guess the problems with agents comes in when you are looking at kids, and definition of kids, anything under 18, if you ask me. And the way that they're approached. There's one manager in particular who, well, there's a couple who've decided to make enemies of me over the years, but there's two in particular, actually, that just decide to go on the offensive if they don't get what they want and they think you're in bed with another manager. And some of the dirty tricks has been unbelievable. One of them waited for me to be away in Poland and with Poland in order to make an illegal approach to one of my school players and transfer him to another school and this, that, and the other. Needless to say, that person's moral background is a little bit questionable. It doesn't take long to find out that on Google. If you know the name of the person I'm talking about, I'm not going to say it. And also, guess what happened to that player when he came out of the care of a school and of a coach and a coaching staff that looked after the person rather than just the commodity? Guess what happened to that player? And I guess there's problems too with some companies that mass recruit young kids. There's some companies out there that get lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of 15 and 16-year-olds. If the rules suggest that they can't sign them until 17, they'll still make promises and say, we're looking at you and this, that, and the other. But let's have a look at some of the positives of agents too. You get with an agent in any walk of life because you don't understand the territory you're in. So people use travel agents because they don't want to navigate the flight prices or the hotel prices and whatnot. Other people can just find their own hotels and flights. Some people use estate agents, other people do their own dealings themselves in the real estate realm. And it's the same with agents. And what agents in rugby league do in any sport is they know the market value. So a good agent can tell you what you're worth. A bad agent will overpromise and underdeliver. And the reality is there's so many agents out there that do overpromise and underdeliver, make big promises to children, sell them the world, and then give them a little bit of soil. And that is what brings the reputation of managers down. Managers and agents are here to stay. I think, to be fair, the NRL does a relatively good, probably a great job at trying to keep tabs on them. They've made some people accountable for things that they shouldn't have done. Okay. So my thought on them signing kids, I probably would leave it to 17, 18. I don't know what the current rules are. And as long as a parent's around, then really it's okay. Parents, be careful who you're signing with.